hello. Every so often I have a pop at the Church of England. Not so much that I'm not a member of the Church of England, but that I believe that the Church of England, which is the established church, has a responsibility to Britain as a whole, to the whole Anglosphere in many cases, and certainly to Britain, as an upholder of morals and stability. And by morals, I'm not talking about, talking too much about short skirts and that sort of thing. I'm just talking about general morality. Some things that don't change. For instance, like men and women are men and women. I've just probably spoken a heresy by Church of England standards, haven't I? Anyway, they've already allocated something like £100 million to come up with some way of recompensing peoples who were colonised by Britain in centuries past. It's just amazing how much money the Church of England do have. But then, who cares about the pensioners who come to church for some spiritual uplifting and maybe a sandwich? Okay, I was just thinking the other day, we were filing out of a church service and there was this trestle table at the back of the church with tea and coffee and that sort of thing, and everybody was socialising there. And I remarked to somebody, it's funny, in years gone past, we'd have all been going up to the altar for a sip of wine and a wafer, and now we're going to the back of the church, turning our backs on the altar for a cup of coffee and a biscuit. Okay, gender-neutral God to be considered by the Church of England. You'd think they'd have far better things on their minds. The country is in certain financial straits, isn't it? And it's not just Britain, it's not America, it's not France, it's not Germany, it's all of us, because there's a war going on in Eastern Europe. And there's a whole lot of other aftershocks from the COVID pandemic. And talking about aftershocks, I just want to say that the church could be doing more in Turkey and possibly Syria as well. But no, they're sitting here at home in their nice comfortable offices talking about a gender-neutral God in church services. Is there anything they're not going to go for, to tear down, to sully? For decades, the gender of God has prompted debate within the church, with many calling for male pronouns he and him, as well as reference to our Father, to be scrapped in favour of either gender-neutral or female alternatives. Well, female alternatives are out, because they're just as bad as the male alternatives. And furthermore, they're not interchangeable. A mother is a different sort of thing. I'd say, if you want to look at the way we think about these things, the father is a sort of symbolic of the law, and the mother is symbolic of the heart and the emotions. And so I can understand why God was the father and not the mother in that context. And as everyone knows, I'm something of a feminist. Now, what are we going to call God? Now, in what would mark a departure from centuries of tradition, bishops are to launch a project. Oh, yeah, they have nothing else to worry about, on gendered language referencing God in church services later this year. The move has been criticised by conservatives who have warned that male and female imagery is not interchangeable. Oh, yeah, I suppose that makes me a conservative. However, liberal Christians have welcomed it, claiming that a theological misreading of God as exclusively male is a driver of much continuing discrimination and sexism against women. No, it's got nothing to do. God is one thing. Men and women are something else. Details of the plans emerged in a written question to the Liturgical Commission, which prepares and promotes forms of services and religious worship in the church. Should gendered language be used when referencing God? Yes, no. Okay. Before I carry on, I'm going to tell you I'm Granniopteryx on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I am also on Twitter, Gab and Parler, at Granniopteryx. Now, YouTube often forgets to inform people of my uploads, so that's why I use Twitter, Gab or Parler to let you know. Also, you can help my channel by liking this video, by sharing it, and by subscribing. And you can help me financially, buy me a coffee or one of the other links. All the links are in the description. By the way, if you're on YouTube and you think you subscribe, just check it out because they drop subscriptions without you knowing. Okay, so let's get back to the church. Develop more inclusive language. It said the Reverend Joanna Stobart from the Diocese of Bath and Wells asked what steps were being taken to offer congregants alternatives to referring to God with male pronouns and if there was any update to develop more inclusive language. She also asked bishops to provide more options for those who wish to use authorised liturgy and speak of God in a non-gendered way. Well, yeah, I suppose you could refer to God as it. Yeah, I wouldn't object to that, actually. It's a little abstract. Then maybe it is the answer, because that's not going to help the congregations. But then there are no congregations in half of the Church of England churches anyway, so what does it matter? In response, the Bishop of Lichfield, you think, okay, they're going for the woke crowd with this non-gendering of God, but the woke crowd don't go to church. They are heading exactly for the wrong people. But then the church has a history of making wrong business errors in any case, of making wrong business decisions. Anyway, they sold a load of churches for next to nothing, and now churches and vicarages, and now they're worth a fortune. And now they're going to spend, as I said, something like £100,000 on working out what reparations to make to ex-colonies. The precise details of the project remain unknown. Where are we? The spokeswoman for Women and the Church, a national campaign group for gender equality in the Church of England, also welcomed the move to look at the development of a more inclusive language in our authorised liturgy. However, the Reverend Ian Paul, a member of the General Synod and the Archbishop's Council of the Church of England, warned against any departure from the original scriptures, saying the use of male pronouns for God should not be understood as implying that God is male, which is a heresy. God is not sexed, unlike humanity. Yeah, well, okay, I can understand people reminding us that God is not supposed to have any sort of agenda. But the fact that they're using father, as I said, when you use the word father, you are talking about a sort of legal definition. But then, you know, so many people nowadays don't know who their father is. Perhaps that's why they want to get rid of it in the church. The news comes amid tensions within the Church of England as the Synod prepares for a historic vote on blessings for same-sex couples later this week. Don't ask me to even go there. All right, well, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.